Hello, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. Can you please briefly introduce yourself to us?
My name is Stacia. Yes, I'm a graduate architect. I did architecture, a degree in architecture at Makerere University. Yes, and currently I'm practicing as an architect in a firm in Tinda called Arc Design Limited.
Oh,
Yes.
awesome.
I reside in Chisasi, Pulambiro Ring Road.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I think.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, our topic is housing, and I believe you have, as an architect and as a Kampala resident, I believe you have some experience, and I would like you to share some with us. And we would like to, the first question would be, what's your experience? Is it mainly in urban areas or rural areas when it comes to housing? Like, what do you operate mostly?
Um, that is where I work or personally.
Oh, okay. Like where you work from?
Where I work, most of our projects we do are
Mm,
upcountry, yes, which is that is rural areas.
yeah.
Yes, we mostly do hospitals, we do health, yeah, those are health centers, we do schools. Like at the moment, I'm on a nursing school in Sironko.
Mm,
It's a village upcountry. I'm working on I'm working on ICU units that's in Arua, Kavale,
mm,
and Hoima. Yes. So most of the projects we do are upcountry, yes, but also we have some projects in Kampala that we are doing. For example, around Namugongo Shrine,
yeah.
there's a commercial building where it's still in the design stage as
Mm.
a farm. Yes.
Oh,
So
oh.
that's mainly. But personally, the fact that I stay around Kampala, I would
Mm,
say I observe a lot what happens in the suburbs. For example, even in the slums.
yeah.
My final project in my fifth year was about it was dwelling in the slums. So I would say I have the fact that it was school, I have more knowledge concerning town housing and also the slums, the rural areas, the fact that I've not lived there for long
Yeah.
and I don't reside there, I may not know much, but apart from the few times when I pass by or go
Mm.
through the different districts, that's when I can observe the different things there. Yeah.
Oh, that's really awesome. So you've mentioned working up country. I guess that would be with like NGO with or government institutions, right?
Yes, yes, definitely. Some of our stakeholders, this is World Bank, the personnel we work with. We also have Ministry of Health. Yes. This is in Uganda. We have Ministry of Education and Sports as well. So as the programs or the people we work with
Yeah.
definitely have to have a collaboration with people here in Uganda. So for
Yeah.
example, the fact that we are doing ICUs would have to definitely work with the Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, all right. That's really good. And maybe some of the questions that I would also ask is, can you tell us briefly, like, the common materials used housing in Uganda? Like, for example, building those hospitals, and is it like concrete, bricks, or like, can you tell us?
Yes. At the moment, because the ICUs have commissioned, I'm giving you examples of projects I'm personally involved in. As
Mm,
a firm, there are many other projects that individuals are involved in. But
yes.
the project right now I'm working on is ICUs.
Mm,
And yes, we've started site work and we are using block work because block work is unlike before where we used to use bricks, which are really small. Right
mm,
now we're using block work, concrete block work. Of course, we have the advantages of block work. It's big enough, it's stronger, you understand? So even in the manufacturing, there's less waste. There's less waste in it because during transportation, most of these small bricks would break. and it would take a long time to come
Mm.
up, say, with a whole facade or a wall. So
Yes.
yes, at the moment, we are mostly using concrete blocks because the fact that they are big, we are able to complete a structure
Mm.
quickly and neater as compared to having these small bricks where you have to have where you have to arrange them a certain way and they have to be neat. But if you have a whole block, it's easier to work with. So yes, the materials we're using at the moment, I'll talk of block work as the main construction material. Yes, then of course we have iron sheets because here in Uganda, iron sheets are cheaper. They're cheaper than flat roofs because the ICU units, we designed them in the way of having iron sheets. Iron sheets are, use of iron sheets, of course, is better other than a flat roof because a flat roof is made of concrete and it's affected by weather and so many other things.
Yes.
Yes. So,
Awesome. Awesome. And okay, generally, like, can you please mention to us, like, just some of the challenges maybe you face, you as an architect, or with your company, like some of the challenges in the process, of constructing those, like ICUs and.
okay. As I said, at the moment we're in 3 different districts. We're in that is Arua, Hoima, and Kabale.
Yes.
Yes. And in these different places, of course, there are different tribes.
Yeah.
There are different tribes in these places.
Mm.
And we're actually contributing to their society, but they need to be educated about it.
Yeah.
To know that, yes, this is for their good. So this is the same structure we are doing in all the regional hospitals. Right now, this is a first ICU. This is a first project of ICU in Uganda. And it was brought about from the COVID experience where we all needed ICUs and treatment and so on. So you go down to a certain district and people are not welcoming, first of all. People are not welcoming. And you need to, of course, our duty is to educate them. And personally, since I'm a designer, it's the contractor. The contractors are people who actually put down the building. My duty is to design and supervise and ensure that everything is done. So the main one of the challenges that the contractor shared with us is that they were not welcoming. They're not welcoming in these places. And another challenge is that the fact that these are regional hospitals, they don't have master plans. By a master plan is that you will know where, say you would plan the next 10 years, where you would have a specific building in this huge site. You understand, in this huge piece of land you have, you know that, okay, in the future, we shall have ICU units at this point. We shall have, I don't know, a maternity ward at this point. So because of lack of that, it's hard for us to plan. So we're given a specific space to put our ICU units, but it was a bit limiting. With construction comes with offices that they use during construction, offices of the contractors, where they keep materials and all that. But because we were given a very small space, they had to put up their temporary offices quite a distance and store. So yes, the fact that we were given small land, that's another challenge. And the other challenge is that queries, that where we get materials from, very good materials. Some of these districts specifically don't have good material, so they would have to source them. For example, if you are to get cement, the known cement at the moment, you could talk of Tororo cement. And if I'm in Arua, you clearly know that's a whole different direction to go to Tororo. Tororo is this side of the east, and Arua, you're really going to the north. Yes. So yeah, so there's transportation of material. The fact that they don't have good material, would have to source it out. Yes. And also, but then at the same time, there are places which have materials easily accessible, which reduces on cost. So that the further material is, cost increases. Yes. So I think that, of course, also construction, you have to benefit to ensure that the surrounding, the context benefits, meaning you would have to hire people from the context. One, it would save you a lot in that money. This is from the contractor's side. That means that instead of bringing someone from Kampala to come and construct, who will probably ask for a higher rate per day during construction, you'd get someone nearby in the vicinity to construct. The challenge with that is that you may not be able to communicate.
Yes.
Not everyone in Uganda at the moment knows English.
Yeah.
It may be the national language, but not all of us are educated to the point of knowing English. So there'll be a time during construction, you'll want to tell this foreman and say, you know what, bring that sand from here to here, or you're meant to measure it in this same way, but you cannot communicate. So language barrier, too, is a problem when we are constructing, especially a farm based in Kampala, which knows, of course, English educated, is constructing upcountry. So most times, of course, in our teams, we have to get someone who speaks that language to be able to also communicate easily to them. Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. And okay, you as an architect, maybe just a resident of Kampala, do you have some experience? Okay, maybe let me say as an architect, have you ever worked on some projects, let me say for family homes or apartments? Have you worked on such projects?
Yes. As my personal projects, yes, I have.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I have. I have some experience.
What would you say most Ugandans do? Like, do they rent or do they prefer buying homes just like the majority? What would you say the most?
Of course, everyone would want to own a house, but not everyone can afford a house, can afford a piece of land. So the easiest thing people do is they rent houses. Personally, I'm renting because I would want to have a home of my own, but at the moment I can't afford it. So we end up renting, probably close to workplace, close to school, close to wherever is easier for us. So I would think majority of Ugandans rent, especially in Kampala. Now, when you go to the urban areas, these people have chunks and chunks of land. They have a lot of land. So most of the people who are in the outskirts of Kampala actually own the houses. That's the beauty about it. So the fact that all of us wanted to be in Kampala, there's a lot of overpopulation in Kampala. We end up not getting land in Kampala because it's either very expensive or it's done. Yeah. But you go down to the villages, everyone there owns land. Either their father gave them a portion just next to their house, or they were able to buy land cheaply. I mean, you can get a land of 2 million in Arua.
Okay.
A good piece of land. An acre, you can actually get it at the moment. Yes.
Oh, awesome. So you would say that most people who own land is from inheritance or they just bought it cheaply, and that is like in the rural areas, right? And
that's in the rural areas.
And in Kampala, for those who own homes, like how do they do it? Do they get loans? Do they just save and buy 100%? Like, is there such systems of, let me say, mortgage or something like that is?
With the experience I have in construction, I would say it depends really. It depends on if someone is constructing a commercial building, say in Kampala, and they know they're going to get returns at a certain time, but they want the structure up quickly, they could get loans. They could get loans to ensure that this structure goes up quickly. And also people do get loans for homes as well. Of course, you have to have a plan on how you're going to pay back. Yes, people do get loans, such it's easier. It's cheaper in the long run because when you are buying material, buying in bulk, definitely. Meaning that transport will be a bit cheaper, but if you keep buying little by little, but also there are also people who don't get loans and they choose to construct a house. And those people usually take longer. Someone could construct a house, say a 3-bedroom house, 5 years and more. Because they didn't choose to get a loan, they chose to construct according to the earnings they have. Then there are people who first, they can have their piece of land and hold it off and say they put a boundary fence or at least put temporary fencing, and they save up and they say, you know what, I'm going to save up enough money to go up to the ring beam. The ring beam is just above the window, yes? Before you roof. They're like, yeah, if I get, say, 100 million, I can push this until the ring beam. Then as it's constructing, I'll be able to get more money and put on a roof. Now, in construction, the cheapest thing is the frame. So after the frame, you can move around Kampala and find many houses are not finished. Yes? or even commercial buildings that just have a roof and there are no finishes, because finishes are very, very expensive. So yes, there are loans, and it's really up to your earnings. Loans, individual paying, it depends.
Okay. All right. So for our audience who, like, for those who have not been in Uganda, like, can you please describe to them, like, what types of common, like, I don't know, like buildings or as you'd expect, I don't know if there are like different types of um let me say houses that are found in Uganda, like, okay, also based on what material people use, number of bedrooms. If you can describe to us, like, the types of houses we can
Okay.
find in Uganda in general.
Okay, that's houses meaning homes.
Yes.
Homes.
Yeah.
I would say the apartments. Yeah. Apartments in the sense that it can be a building and there are different units. Let me say there are 10 units on a certain building. Yes. Now, this is like, I would say this is a commercial because you are renting it. In this, usually what people do, a client comes to you and tells you, I would want a single unit. Yes, meaning it would have a bedroom, a lounge, a kitchenette, and a bathroom. That's a unit. And then it'll be like, on the same block, I want it to be more diverse. I want a single unit, a one-bedroom unit. I want a two-bedroom unit and a three-bedroom unit. It With doing that, with designing that, it means he would have more clients to come and rent out this apartment. So that could be a home for someone. Also, there's a new system of condominium. I'm sure our audience would know something about it. It's an apartment where I would have to buy my own unit. I would buy it and I would own it, depending on my family, on what I would want. Because some people could have, say, a three-bedroom house, and maybe it's just a single person who wants to use one of them as a studio, rather an office space, maybe another storage. It really depends. But most of the standard units, I would say, is bedroom, lounge. It could be lounge and dining, depending on the size. A kitchenette or an open plan kitchen, a toilet and bathroom. And since it's an apartment, definitely a balcony will be there. Yes. Now that's in terms of an apartment. And then we're going to go down to a home. Someone can have a flat, a storage building, where maybe they would have a three-bedroom house.
Yeah.
But when I say a three-bedroom house, I mean that the other rooms that are additional are lounge, dining, kitchen, bathroom, and toilet, depending. Because in a normal house, let me say a family house, you will notice that the master bedroom would have a complete unit, meaning it would have a walk-in closet, it would have a bathroom and toilet, and this would be a really huge space, mainly for the heads of the family. Say the mother and the father are living in a master bedroom, yes? And of course, they'll have their children's room, maybe two children, but they'll end up sharing a bathroom and toilet. Then maybe if they have, like, say, next to the lounge, they would have a powder room or a cloak room. I'm sure my audience would understand this. It's more like it's just a toilet which visitors can use. Now in Uganda, we are able to get helps, maids. We call them, you could call them a help, someone who will help you at home. And most of the family houses have a sleep-in maid or house help or house manager, whichever you may call them. So that's also an additional room. Some people would have this person sleep next to the kitchen or maybe sleep in the boys' quarter. A boys' quarter is basically a unit, not part of the main house, yes, but just away from it, but well equipped. It has everything. It has a bedroom. So it may not be as big and luxurious as the main house, but it will be just enough unit for someone to sleep in. So I would say that's a typical house with family, children, and stuff. So people in Uganda get to rent or build depending on who they are or the number of people they have in their house. So for such a person, you may find those are three bedrooms in the main house, and maybe the boys' quarter is where the helps, maybe the askari or someone who cleans the compound. Yeah. Then another system I'll talk about is a studio apartment. Studio apartments are commonly used by, I would say, campusers, someone who's still at university, someone who's single, and also sometimes someone who doesn't have enough funds. Because as I said, with the population growing in Kampala, so does housing. So someone may want to stay in Kampala but cannot afford a lot, afford the single unit, 1 bedroom unit, which has a lot of space. And you might find if you go down to those slums, you're going to find one room, but this room will have like 8 children in it. Yes. So I would say it depends on the income of the person, on where they want to be. Because some people come from the villages, yes, the rural areas, and they want to work in Kampala, but they come with their families. So that's how you find some of the slums in Kampala. So yes, there's a studio apartment. Now, for the slums, of course, they would have a bathroom and toilet outside, and all they do is sleep inside. So for the studio apartment, it's a huge room, I would say. And it has a small kitchenette, just like a small partition. It could have a bathroom and toilet. It would be enough for a single person, really. So I think I've exhausted all the kinds of housings at the moment we have in Uganda. Yes, according to, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You've mentioned slums. How common are slums? Like, does Kampala have many slums? And can you tell us a bit more about the situation of, housing situation, slums?
Okay. Yes, just like any city, just like any any business city, there has to be slums. Even to my audience, I'm sure in their different countries, there are slums. Slums, basically, these people want to live close to town. Yes, a slum is just a collection of so many people together. And usually slums are not, in Uganda, they're not divided by tribe or what. You're going to find everyone there. You could say, I would compare a slum to a refugee camp. Yes, where they have the bare minimum to survive. Yes, so these guys will be next to a city. The slum I'm more familiar with is Namugongo slum, because that's where, as I said, I did a study on my final project, and my final project was basically creating a dance home, because my inspiration was from, just giving a background where I got to understand it better, was from the ghetto children. In Uganda, what ghetto means is these are people who have come from the low life, yes, and they come together and they get a common interest. I'm sure my audience has heard of ghetto children from Uganda. Most times they are orphans, they don't have people who help them, and they struggle and find a way. Yes. So coming down to slums, these are people who you're going to find that their homes keep expanding. By expanding, I mean one room will be constructed where there'll be like 8 children in one room, father, mother, everyone there. It will be the lounge, it will be the dining, it will be the storage, it will be everything. Probably the room can be, say, 3 by 2 meters, a very small room, but everyone will stay there. So with time, according to how much money they have gotten, they get to construct a small unit to add on it. And maybe when they construct, they're like, you know what? The older people are going to live there. The mother and father will live there. So you get to experience a space. In a way, it's beautiful, yeah? Get to experience a space which keeps happening, keeps evolving. Now, these are people who, I don't know, I'm now excited. Anyway, these are people who like their spaces convert according to the purpose. During day, you'll find them showering children on the veranda or on the porch, as yeah, my audience could understand that. And on the veranda, then around evening, it has converted into a space for cooking. You get. Then in the night, they'll use it as a business space. They'll be doing street food and stuff. So their spaces keep changing. I would call them a flexible space because they can serve all purposes, you get. So about materials, really, the fact that these people don't have enough money, so they'll use scrap, what people would call scrap. They'll use any material. So these guys are actually very creative, yeah? Because they lack money, they could literally use, okay, because of course there are challenges, you'll find a leaking roof and stuff. So instead of getting a nail, they could use a brick which has just been disposed of and put it on the roof and on the iron sheet, so it will be able to support the iron sheet and keep it in place. You get? So the slum, to me, the slum is a beautiful place. It's a place I would ask my audience to come and study. They would understand different walks of life of people, where they come from and stuff. And meanwhile, these are people who are very happy and content. Unlike people in well-to-do places in Kampala, these guys are content and they help each other. So anyhow, I'll go down to the materials. Yes, they can use anything as a material to survive. They can use anything. Even in terms of children playing, they don't have big spaces for playing, but they'll create a small space which can be used as a soccer pitch, as a basketball pitch, as a space, a studio for dancing. People are going to do art. You'll go there and notice that the architecture is so interesting that they end up drawing graffiti. Most of the graffiti found in Uganda, you'll find them in slums, and it's so amazing. They paint. There's a lot that happens there. So materials that I would say are common. They can use tarpaulin. In Uganda, we call it tundubari. Yeah, tarpaulin, it's a waterproof material. This waterproof material can be used as walls. All they have to do is have poles, because what are they trying to achieve? Protect themselves from water. It's simple. It's as simple as that. It's not about aesthetics. It's basically about a purpose, a function. I want to stay in this place. How can I survive? They'll have that tarpaulin. It's a damp-proof polythene, I would call it. So they can have tarpaulin, they can have iron sheets. Iron sheets, we know them in Uganda for only used as a roof. In the slums, it can be a wall. They can cut out and have it as a window. It can do all different things on a house or on a home. Yes. Then they can have mud and water. Mud and water, because this is something all of them can get involved in, from the children to the elders. It's basically having grids and mud. It's easy. Yes. And then you'll find that in these slums, there are local bricks. Remember, I told you initially we used to use bricks, but now construction has gone to blocks. In slums, you're not going to find many blocks. You mainly find bricks because these are burnt bricks and they're burning them there and they actually get involved in it. Yes. Then you're also going to find polythene, normal polythene, where you're going to find patches in the walls of these different houses. You're going to find them patched up. Yeah. And in a way, it is aesthetic, you know. Then another material you're going to find is poles. You're going to find poles. Now, this guy's kind of architecture is interesting in that, as I told you, they have a purpose to achieve. They can rear animals, by the way, and they can sleep. By the way, in this house, which I told you, which could have 8 people, it can also have poultry, it can have goats and all. Yes. Now, trust me, it can have everything in that house. Now, during my study, I found a structure where I would say it's a storage building. Many of us would disagree, but in my view, it is a storage building, because what they did is that they raised up their building, put poles which supported their building. Of course, they had timber. Oh yes, timber is another material that can be used. Any material that the high end can throw away, they get it and use it to their advantage. So they got timber and they supported the building. It's not as if you have to look at beauty as a finished product. No, it's beautiful in its way. So it's supported up and down. There are poles down. So their animals are tied on these poles. So what I could say is that I told it I'll take it as a storage building. On the ground floor, taking it as a ground floor, has animals just under their structure. They are able to rear their animals. By the way, the slums have goats. They have poultry and even cattle. You will find cattle, trust me. So that kind of architecture is that they tie their animals down. Yep. Yes, I'll call it a ground floor. And then as they go to the upper floor, that's where their homes are. Of course, they have a ladder made of leftover material, but it works and they are happy. And you're going to find their walls there's a bit of tarpaulin, there's a bit of mud and water somewhere, there's a bit of iron sheet, then the roof also has some iron sheets. Also, there's timber somewhere. So as I said, any material for them can be a construction material. They are able to be creative that the people in Kampala are losing out on. You get? Yeah. Their structures are beautiful. By the way, they will do iron sheets and paint them different colors. And it will be a certain beautiful collage.
Yeah, wow.
You get? So I would say the materials in the slums, I would encourage the audience to come and study slums in Kampala. Then you're going to look at their day-to-day life. As I told you, the fact that they don't have enough money, or they might have come from the north. For example, that slum started up from people of the north, really. But as it grew, different people came in. You'll find that their way of life, really, that in the morning they can, or in the night, this gentleman can be a security guard somewhere, and in the morning he could be a teacher. Yes. In the evening, he could be a DJ somewhere. But these guys love fun. So you're going to find, if you have to go in these spaces in the night, that's why I told you they keep converging. You might come during day and you find a different space. By the time you come in the night, in the same spot, it will be different. So about material, I won't be specific. But also you might find that rich person who has like a finished product, like one in the whole place, which has block work, like good spaces, you get. So it's a whole, the slums have all different materials and has a lot of creativity, more than the Kampala, the CBD, which has no more material. And in a way, it gets boring in Kampala because we are looking at our ODS, I would say European countries, and that's what we want to mimic here. So in a way, we are losing out. Oh, by the way, these guys can also have thatch in that place. So imagine, so imagine a whole different, it's different really. Yeah, it's a different use of materials depending on the purpose at that time. I want to nail a roof onto this timber. Well, I don't have a nail. I could just put a brick on it, or I could put a tire which was thrown away and I placed it there, and it will do the purpose. Yes, but don't forget that some of these use of materials are determined from the challenges they go through. You'll find that these are people who, you find that some of their houses are raised because they have a problem of flooding water.
Yeah.
Yes. So how they construct. So the other person I told you who has poultry down and then goes to construct up, it's serving two purposes. One, when the water level is high and there's flooding because, their drainage is poor due to rubbish and blah, 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 they are able to not get affected by water. So they raised up their structure, but at the same time, they're rearing their livestock under where they stay. So materials, they're not specific. Anything can be, a book can become a wall. You get? These are creative human beings. So I know I've over really talked, but
No,
I got really excited.
no. It's so insightful. Like, so
yeah, so a carpet can become a roof. Whatever they find that someone has thrown in scrap. Oh, by the way, they can even use bottles. That's how creative they are. They can use bottles.
So creative, yeah.
Yes, and they put sand in them and they construct a wall.
Oh, I think I've seen such buildings,
yes.
like plastic bottles from like sodas and others using sand.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, they're really so creative.
What the other world is looking at as sustainability, which I think also Uganda is going to, the slums practice this architecture without knowing. That's what I could say. They are sustainable because they're doing sustainable because they are recycling the different materials accessible to them, bottles, or they can get if there's soil, because of course in Uganda sand could be expensive, that beach sand. They could get a sack and put soil in it and construct a wall, and it stands by itself. It doesn't need mortar, cement, and what. No, it will do the purpose. As long as in the slums, as long as you can achieve a goal of, yes, I need a house here, they will work together. They don't even have to have a skilled personnel, because due to costs, someone will just ensure that I want to stay here and I will have that. There's no much education or skilledness needed, and everyone in home could come and participate. They can use bamboo. By the way, another material is bamboo, because we both know, okay, sorry, I'm talking like that, but in my knowledge, the fact that I also did bamboo, okay, I'm more into sustainability. Yeah, that's a direction I would want to go in my career. So I did a survey on, my dissertation was about use of bamboo in interior spaces. So I noticed that bamboo is actually stronger than concrete. So you're going to find these guys in the slums using bamboo because, oh, by the way, when they were walking, they found this stick they can use in their house, and it will be a reinforcement. You get? So just know, honestly, that's the audience I'm talking about. I'm talking to. Get time and study
The slums.
Ugandan slums. I've not been to other countries' slums, but with the knowledge I've acquired, it's a beautiful space to study architecture, to study housing. You'll get to see all different kinds of things and how they are able to go around the different challenges and still stay there comfortable. To them, it's comfortable because they don't know any other way of
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
interesting.
So
But
another thing about housing in the
yes.
slums is that you'll find a mosque next to a shrine, next to next to a church. So
Oh,
the kind of you get
yeah.
you because there was a during my study there was a like a whole street, I would say like a whole line. There would be
Yes.
a mosque, a church, a club somewhere, and a shrine. So okay, the architecture in the slums is very,
So
very
interesting.
interesting. Yeah.
So interesting. Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much. So you've mentioned some in this conversation you've mentioned some challenges, about housing, be in rural areas, urban,
Yeah.
the slums
Yeah.
and everything. What do you think can you think of some solutions to those challenges? Be you as an architect, be for the residents, both rural and
Um,
urban areas. Can you think of some
you're
solutions?
talking about challenges in the urban areas.
Yeah, be let me say to urban or rural areas, or let me say be for people to acquire like homes, to construct, to
Okay.
the hardware issue you mentioned. Can you think of
Okay.
some solutions?
One of the
Things,
problems
basically
as
some things you've noticed that you can, if you had the power to change, you would change, like about
okay.
housing.
Okay. If I had the power to change, as I
Yeah,
said, I'm very interested in sustainability. Being a tropical, we Ugandans, we're in a tropical region. Being in a tropical region, I would think would use materials accessible to us.
yeah,
Yes. This would reduce on cost, would increase on the lifespan, would also bring a certain kind of aesthetics in in our country because at the moment, don't get me wrong, you move in Kampala, you are going to see Dubai. By Dubai, I don't mean the standard of Dubai, but I mean you're going to see curtain walling, you're going to see
yeah,
glass everywhere. This is a country which we are lucky our weather is good, but we have a lot of sun. So you're going to move a certain part of Kampala and there's a lot of glare because of the use of glass everywhere, the curtain warning, it's too much, and we are losing out, and we all want the skyscrapers, the 7 floors, and all. Yet the old Kampala, if you had to look at some of the pictures, you would notice there's diversity. You would notice there's some high rise, and the skyline was better,
yeah,
yes, and we had more green in Kampala.
yeah,
Right now, whoever has money can put up an arcade. An arcade is more like a commercial building. It could be a mixed use where you have shops down, or it could be a bank. Then up you're going to have residentials. So me, I would hope to change that mindset of we don't have to copy people in Europe. We don't have to copy Dubai. I would say Dubai because it has most of the high rise building. We don't have to copy them. We can be original. We have a lot of materials we could use specifically for our environment, and we wouldn't have to have SC increasing the cost of living, because SC, once you put SC in a building, because you can't have the right openings in a building. I mean, if you have to have glass everywhere, I need to use SC. Yes. So in terms of material, we are importing tiles, ceramic tiles from outside, and they either come on ship or plane. Becomes expensive. It's polluting the environment. I would prefer, as a country, we look more at sustainability. We still have raw materials. We have the rocks. We have the soil. We can ensure, especially for homes, when you put aside high-rise building, because there are things that can't, it would be more expensive actually to get someone to look at use of bamboo as you go up. Yes, it would need skilled labor, skilled personnel to understand how you can manipulate it and stuff. But say for homes, we don't have to use block work. Because to me, block work, the manufacture of block work is already polluting the environment. We are lucky that we have raw materials we could use to ensure that we can have different spaces. We can use tires. There's a lot of waste in Uganda. So we can use tires to construct. Yes, to construct and cut them and know how to manipulate them. Of course, we need a bit of education or to sensitize our people that beauty is not only in these new materials we see in movies. We can also achieve beauty in our local materials. We have, by the way, you go to Arua, you go to spaces which have rocks, and you realize that they're actually stronger than this cement and what we are trying to manufacture at the moment. So some of the things I would do right is basically the materials. The materials would look at the fact that we're in the tropics, would know how to design our structures better to know that, yes, would have that, maybe having a breezeway. A breezeway is a space which would reduce on the heat. You know, we have a lot of heat and it's not seasonal. I mean, it can rain today in Kampala and the next day, but we are lucky we don't have things like earthquakes. We don't have that kind of weather affecting us. So certain materials would really, really help. You understand? And also use of skilled labor. Some of the structures in Kampala that have fallen is because they do not consult architects. They don't consult engineers. So some of those, over years, there have been a few arcades, a few high-rise buildings falling, and it's been a bad experience. Of course, it has killed people. It's because these people are looking for a cheap way of constructing a structure, which, so they don't look at skilled people. So yeah, the challenge, the way I would look at materials, different use of materials, sustainable materials, definitely. I would look at engagement of skilled personnel, let them reach out to architects. We are everywhere. Of course, reach out to engineers, because for a high-rise building, you would definitely need a structural engineer. Even for a low-rise, you would really need someone to ensure that your building can stand time. It can stand maybe 50 years and so on from now. You need strength of that building. Yeah, I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes,
I
you did.
have, yeah.
Maybe just two more questions before we wrap this up. Do you think there is a way that the pandemic affected the housing, industry in Uganda?
Of course, the pandemic affected in that offices, people lost jobs. Yeah, offices were closed down. I'm talking about offices because we got to. It was a good thing, yeah. It was bad as well as good because we got to be exposed to use of Zoom. Meaning, I can sit back the same way I'm using Zoom. I'm in my home. I can sit back and have this interview with you. So that could change how houses can be constructed. We can have an office home. I would say in my parents' house, there was no provision for an office. You would have to either, you'd have to either use the dining as an office. Yes, so the pandemic, it was sad. People lost jobs, but also people got creative. We're able to explore things like Zoom, so we can have them at home. So when we are designing as designers, as architects, we can look at ensuring that we will have a bit of privacy. Like, you know what, if you are to design, I know that kids' rooms are this side. Why don't I put the office on this other end to ensure that there is a bit of quiet? Because say we're having a meeting. Imagine I had children and they were shouting everywhere. Yeah. You get? There'll be a lot of. So when I'm designing a home right now, I would advise my client, I'm like, you know what? You cannot, these days there are jobs you can do online. And you need a quiet environment for you to achieve that. So let's plan for an office. Yes. So that is one of the ways we're able to how COVID affected housing. Another thing I would say is yes, creatives. I would look at people who do art, who sing, who do, they would want a studio at home because they at that. Many studios closed down, many music spaces, photography and stuff. For example, we're looking at storage of these different equipment. Yes, you have a lot of equipment you would want to store away. and I'm designing a house which is specific. I only have bedroom. So if I have a space which can be multi-use, it could have storage of equipment. It could have, for someone who's into music, it could be a studio. For an architect like me, definitely I would want a room where I'm not seeing my bed because my bed would make me sleep. I would want to walk through the night. A space where I can stand up. I mean, I'm starting to doze. I can have a whiteboard where I can sketch out things and stuff. So yes, and also it affected us in the way that people lost their homes in Kampala. So they were forced to go back to their villages. So by going back to the villages, we have to ensure that we try to mimic the comfortable life we've been living. Yeah, to have it in the villages. So most of us in Uganda focus they focus on the housing in Kampala and forget about, so we have to think about that. We have to think, because going forward, most of these jobs are online, really. Yes, they are online, and we can get to, we can get to do all that stuff. We can, maybe even if I'm in Ginger or Kavale, I can sit down on my laptop and be able to work. I can be in nature. So, housing or architecture doesn't only mean the inside. Yeah, I can get my laptop and go and sit in the compound and have the Zoom meeting and work. So yes, the pandemic affected us in a bad way, yes, but it gave us room to be creative,
Yes.
and ensure that we continue with our lives and even earn more money. I know people who are doing YouTube at home and they're earning much more than they actually did in offices. Yes, so in a way, you have to ensure that you marry that too. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, like last question now, just on a personal level, if you don't mind, can you tell us about your aspirations in terms of housing for you, your aspirations?
In terms of housing, as I had earlier communicated, is that I would want a sustainable house, personally. Yeah, I did my degree, but I would want to do sustainable architecture and move on into homes, even commercial and stuff. So this is a space which can sustainability is mainly about being able to stand on its own without artificial help. Yeah, it can be, you don't have to use the fans because you may be SC and all. So the direction, my aspiration is to get a niche, and my niche is into sustainability, use of local materials, and the use of these materials will enable a house be cool, not necessarily go through that hotness at the point of the day where I'm feeling hot, I need a fan and stuff. So the direction I'm heading to is also to have a small house, a small house I can manage alone. At the moment, I'll talk about my family and say that at a point in life, we're all at home during school, and that's how it is here in Uganda. But as time goes on, someone goes to boarding, that is for high school, O level, A level, and later on goes to campus. And in most cases, when someone goes to campus, doesn't come back home. So that leaves emptiness at home. It leaves the parents alone in the house. Right now at home, I look at the compound and I'm thinking, this is so much space. To me, I'm on, you can use this space. You don't have to have excess space. You get. So we have a boys' quarter. At the moment, it's empty because all of us are not home. We have a big compound, which is very expensive. I would think, yes, I would think I would try to bring, I would have a relatively sizable house. I would design a relatively sizable house and ensure to bring the green into the house. By bringing green into the house, I would look at having plants into the house. So you get to enjoy the experience of the house. I'm not saying that I'll do it with compounds, because that too contributes to our mental health. And, I would have a little compound, but be able to sustain it. I'm talking about sizes of homes, because the rich in Uganda think the bigger, the better. But as they grow old, they're not considering the part of, oh yes, I did a storage building, I won't be able to climb up there. When you're designing their houses, you're like, you know what? How about we have a guest bedroom, whereby in the future, when you're old, you can just stop on this ground level. They just look at the bigger, the picture of, oh, I need to show off this and that. I would think the fact that we are a third world country, we'll try to ensure we have relatively sizable homes to just serve the purpose. And when the children leave the houses, we are able to sustain ourselves. We don't have to have helps. In Uganda, we have helps because we have a big home, which needs to be, the compound needs to be swept, the compound, whereby if we are to change it to people, of course, who can afford, I would say, to have things like washing machines, we'll do away with people, other people in our homes. You guys, to me, a home is a private space. So if we are to use machines, yes, some of the people, of course, our parents are not welcome to that idea. But personally, I would want to use of machines, a way to make it easier. And say if I have a washing machine and I can clean my own house, I don't need the maid's room. I actually don't need a maid room. Or I can have a stay out maid where it just comes and she cleans up and leaves. So basically sustainability, a space which enjoyable, more green, more openings. Yes, I think that's a direction of housing I would go to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I wish you achieve what you are aspiring to.
Yeah, definitely. I would want to do a master's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Right.
would be a place I would want to be. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate
You're welcome.
well-detailed answers, and thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.